We're going to start our meeting. I'm calling to order 10:07. Today is September 24th, 2020. Can't believe it has been a year for me in this position. So because we are doing a WebEx, we're not doing the Call of Alliance. We have our members, Guillermo Walls, Derek Lacey, Maita, Tessie Cisneros, and Priscilla. So we're missing Roger, John, Coach Gomez, and Kirby. But I mean, we can still go ahead. We're gonna open to public comments.
I'll go ahead and say something under public comments. Since we don't have it on the agenda, I was working with the city attorney for the lease agreement. I answered some of the questions, which is why they hadn't sent it in to get signed. I think what the city is doing is the city, and I say we as the city, not necessarily me, but the city is trying to find some sort of funding in order to renovate the Canseco house because of the substantial amount of work that does need to be done. And because there is a substantial amount of work that has to be done, they're holding off on signing the agreement because we're not sure where those funds are going to come from in order to get that work done. It's going to be a couple of tens of thousands of dollars just from what Coach was telling us.
Right.
So they are looking for some sources, and of course, all that comes back to the lease agreement. They did want to run the Canseco house or the Canseco property kind of like to mirror the Unitrade agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them that we probably would not want to do that because what that would mean is that any time that the city would want to, they could have an event at the Canseco house like they do at Unitrade. And I told them, well, it doesn't necessarily work like that because we have an actual garden there, and the volunteers of the garden would be very hesitant on letting people go there without the volunteers being there, because if something happens to the garden and to the plants that are there, people put a lot of hard work in there. So I explained to them, I had a good long conversation with the attorney who now understands what we're doing and understands the whole process that is the garden. So she was going to go back and talk to the city manager and assistant city manager so that we could redo the lease and have it not necessarily like the way they have other city properties, but something very independent and something very tailored to our needs.
That's fantastic, Guillermo. Thank you so much. I actually sent, I'm going to continue with these public comments. I sent an email to Mr. Eat because I wanted to introduce Jose, and I also exposed the fact that if we don't have the lease agreement, we have found several grants, but those grants are depending on the lease agreement.
Okay.
Like we have, that there's land that it's shared with the city, but we can still use it. I'm trying to find different. I'm really appreciative. I think we need the lease agreement, and if they can actually complete the carriage house and they can find the funds, would be fantastic. I think so. But in the meantime, what can we do? And this is a question, to have some kind of maybe letter of not a lease agreement signed, but maybe a letter of support from the city saying, we are working on this lease agreement. We are trying to find some kind of funding for this project, but the land is there. The volunteers are working. LCYS is continue with their mission as a government incorporated. What is the name we have? Government.
Local government corporation.
Yeah, local government corporation, right? So we're giving their support. Like we need that type of support.
I
So
got you.
I think that would be important because I've been talking with Jose about this and how important this is for the grants. So I mean, I would propose to move forward with that request from City of Laredo.
I'll talk to the city attorney first chance I get, hopefully today, tomorrow. I did send an email in for an update and she hasn't responded. Um, to be honest, the city manager, the assistant city manager, none of them will sign anything until it gets past legal. It's still in legal right now. Um, you know, I understand that you did send something to Mr. Eads, and you know that's fine and all, but he's not going to sign anything until legal says yes, go ahead and sign.
No, I don't
And
want to force any signature at all. I mean, that's not the goal. No, the goal is to have some kind of um, letter of support, for example, that we can actually include in any application for grants. That's the request. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try force this situation, or no. I understand that, and I really appreciate. Like, I think that the fact that they're looking for finding funding to actually complete the carriage house is amazing. I think it's incredible. I really,
well,
really think it's
well, like I said, I'll stay on top of it with Valeria, and we'll get it taken care of. I'm glad that Jose was telling us about the absolute need for the lease agreement to establish validity for our organization so that we could apply for grants. So I will talk to Valeria about it. If anything, at least we can get that portion of the lease agreement to stipulate that we are a city-sponsored non-for-profit agency, and we can start going.
right.
In the meantime, I just got a text from John Porter. He is on, but he is on multiple meetings, but he is on. So I've marked him as present.
Okay, perfect. Yes, I see him there. And the other thing is that that goes to an item. So this is not the same issue, but it's part of an issue. So let's say we don't have the carriage house because it's under huge construction, right? Which is fine. I think it's absolutely, I think it's a difficult time. I mean, I understand the city is also looking at decrease in revenue. I mean, there are a lot of concerns, right? They are trying to finish the carriage house and all that. But I mean, I don't know how the board feels about Jose's continue to work in the um, at home, right? Versus having an established office, because we can actually, and this is an issue that as a board we need to think about. Okay, we can rent another property. We can rent a little space, or I don't know. Hi, Viviana. We are on public comments. We're talking about the lease agreement, and the city has agreed on, like, they are revising the lease agreement because they are looking at the carriage house and they are trying to find some funding to actually complete that project, which I think is fantastic. I mean, I'm just asking Guillermo if we can have a letter of support because we need that letter for support for grants. But the question here for the whole board is, can we have an address in Laredo? That's going to mean, I mean, if we rent a space for Jose to actually have an office, that's going to be money from our budget. Is that something that we should consider, or is that something that, I mean, are we still, I mean, I'm comfortable. I trust Jose. I know he is working at home, right? The challenge is that for some programs to be established at the garden, Jose needs to be near the premise. So what are we going to do to support Jose in this situation? That's my concern here. I mean, am I okay with that, Jose? Do you
Yes,
agree with me?
yes, of course. We need an office. Absolutely.
That's my concern.
You know, I understand the need for the office, and But looking at the amount of funding we have, I probably would not be in favor of renting a facility in order for us just to have an address. Um, we have a PO box, and we have a location. Um, there's multiple entities working from home right now, and like I agree with you. I trust Jose to that he can, do his job from basically anywhere on those instances when he does have to go to the to Canseco. I think that that's fine, but well, that's just my opinion. I don't want to get into a long-term lease, at least without any other grants yet.
Right. Okay.
But so are you saying, may I speak? I don't know.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am, it's
Okay.
public comments.
All right. Are you saying that the office in the carriage house is still not complete and can't move in?
Correct.
And is there a ETA, or are we talking to somebody who knows, or is there any
Right now-
communication with a councilman?
Right now, that's what they are doing. They're trying to secure the funding in order to get those renovations done. I believe I was talking to him earlier this week, and he was going to go get Public Works to go do an assessment of the work that needs to be done at the Canseco House, so that we could go out and get bids. Once we get bids, we would find out how much money would be needed in order to complete the work, and then we could approach the councilman and say, we need this amount of money. Can we use that from your, would you be willing to, do that from your funds?
So, but if I remember correctly, the second floor already has been worked on. There's a certain amount of work that's been done already. No?
Yeah, just the window.
Doesn't have windows. It doesn't have,
It has windows, new windows. Yeah, that's it.
and it's got the refrigerator below.
They haven't installed the refrigerator, and I think there's rain coming through the building,
Yeah.
and it needs an AC unit and renovation of the restroom. It has to be completely renovated, that restroom.
Mm-hmm.
There's no electricity either.
So who's the last person that has had contact with the councilman?
I'm not sure, ma'am. Like I said, I believe what we're doing is we're trying to find out how much, what the price tag would be for renovation before we go to the councilman.
But who's putting that bid together?
Coach Gomez from Parks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess that so we need to pin this item. I think that would be a good compromise. Let's pin the item in terms of the office. I think it will take a couple more months, right? And then in the meantime, if we can get a letter of support from the city, so we can start the process of applying for grants, I think that would be a good compromise. And I think that, I really appreciate, I think the effort is there. So I really think it's moving forward.
I'll talk to the city attorney and see about that letter of support, or even if we could just move forward with the lease as is and see how they respond to that. And that way, at least we could have something on paper to allow us to apply for grants.
Yeah, exactly, because that's the goal. That's the main goal.
Wouldn't acknowledgement from the city that they donated, that they put the funds in to start the organization to begin with, wouldn't that be verification of support? Isn't like the funds in our bank account came from the city?
I would assume so. You know what, Jose, could you email me a portion of the grant that stipulates what we need in order to apply for the grant, and in terms of what you were saying, like, we need an actual physical address and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course, I can do that.
Okay. And so that way I can get that portion of the grant. I could submit that to the city attorney, and they could tell us, or provide us whatever sort of documentation we need, because we do have a post office box, we do have a physical location. The city could
Yeah,
definitely
but I mean, in terms
provide
of
some sort of
grants,
documentation to
we absolutely
get
need
us
to justify the use of the land that we want to plant trees or
Uh,
Okay.
sorry, you also have the creation of the local government corporation, which is done with the city, and that ordinance is there. And so I don't know, I mean, other than a physical address, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how that would impede you from proving that you have a relationship with the city. I mean, that LGC is kind of pretty powerful. And so is the resolution that created it. That should be part of your application, I would think.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll leave it with you, Jose. If you could send me that little portion, and we can assist you in setting up some sort of template for future grants.
yeah,
Because once we get that first grant application, they're all just going to follow the same format.
same format, yes, sir.
I like that. Okay, very good.
Okay.
So right now we're open for public comments. I don't know if anybody else has a comment.
Yes, I'd just like to thank you all for keeping this whole thing alive and going. I know it's been a very arduous process, to say the least, but it's never has been more worthwhile than today. Because of the pandemic, local food security has become one of the top issues. It was one of the top issues before, but now even more important. So what you all are doing is it's timely. It has been timely. Now it's even more timely and more necessary. I would suggest that there be at some point fairly soon a report by LGC, the LGC LCUAS, to the council to say, this is what we've done so far. This is what we're concentrating on. Once you all get your bearings and everything, this is what we're missing. This is what we need. Having a conversation before you go to council with the councilman. There's not a lot of experience with local government corporations in Laredo, but there's a lot of cities that have a lot of local government corporations within them to help do the kinds of tasks that you all are doing, but on different issues. And so there's a big learning curve as to the potential that this organization has. And I'm available. City Makery continues to be available if you need help on committees. We'll be happy to head a committee of whatever type you want. We're continue to be very interested in helping. So whatever you need, Jose, and the board, we're here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Viviana.
You're welcome.
So let's take a minute let's move to our next item. Let's take a minute. I don't know if anybody has any more public comments. Okay, so we're gonna move to the next item, for approval of the September 3rd, 2020 minutes. Guillermo sent us the document. So last time we approved the logo, we have a new logo, and I think, Jose's been doing a great job just, using that logo to promote, and we're gonna continue to do that. So motion to approve the meeting.
I motion to approve. I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any concerns? So the other item, and I'm rushing this because, not rushing, but I want to move forward because we need to get to the discussion of the position. So Bobby sent us his report as a treasurer. So Guillermo, do you mind reading the?
No, I don't. So Bobby, like I said, informed us that he was not going to be able to join today's meeting. And he mentioned that the only expenses that came out this month were for the executive director. There was a request for reimbursement submitted by Jose. So how would you like those reimbursements done, Jose? In a check made out to your name?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, there's no problem with that.
okay, so we'll go ahead and get those processed. And other than that, that's the only thing that we have for the treasurer's report. He did mention that he would like to open up a relationship with an accountant to assist us with our filings. So we'll put that on the next month's agenda. You know, approval for the board to, I guess, request for the board to approve having an accountant on staff or on file or something like that.
Priscilla, one of the things that I've been hearing from United Way members is that it's difficult to find accountants that actually can do the procedure or the finances or the reports for nonprofit organizations. But I don't know if we are a local government corporation. Do we function the same way as a nonprofit, or we do it same way as a nonprofit? Okay. So, I don't know, Priscilla, you should have an accountant, right?
Yes, which I was gonna say, I can go ahead and forward that information over to Jose. We just changed our CPA, and it was very difficult to find somebody that would do it for a reasonable price. So I'll go ahead and I'll forward that information to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, I think we're fine with the treasurer's report. Jose, it's your time to tell us.
Thank you. Yes, I prepared a brief report for September. I shared this report with Marcela. I don't know, are we able to share the screen, or do you want me to? Yes.
You should be able to.
I should be able to do it?
Yeah, down at the bottom, next to stop video, you should see. Do you see a share button?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Okay. main goals according to our action plan: education, partnerships, community outreach, policies, incentives, and funding. So I've created a summary in a table that with the activities that we have done in the past weeks. Okay, we have created a logo that's related to all of our goals. We have started a marketing campaign on Facebook with flyers, posts, pictures, and that's some. I know Miss Frank has helped us also, and Marcela. She's helping us to share, to comment, to to make some things there in the Facebook page. I still don't have access to Instagram, and I would like to propose the creation of a Facebook closed group. Some of the volunteers have concerns. They want to have a better channel of communication between the people from the board and them and volunteers. So I mean that's something that we could potentially use the Facebook closed group. We do have a WhatsApp group ongoing. I know Derek is one of the admins, and we also have the Trello app that he's set up, right, Derek?
Yeah.
How do you think that, I mean, this Facebook group, closed group can work for us, or what do you think?
Not everybody, especially in our group, is a social media person. I think that's the only challenge for that. I think what we could do is establish regular meetings like this. I think that would be a good idea, just to have like a once a month conference over Zoom. That way, there's not a single person that could be excluded from that.
But I mean, I think that we need to establish two things here. Number one is, I'm going to say, all our meetings for the board are public. So if any of the volunteers would like to participate, they can join like Viviana has done. But that information needs to be shared. So I think, Derek, because you are the volunteer representative, you have to actually share this information with the volunteers, because they need to know this type of, these board meetings are happening. The other thing is, and I've been hearing from volunteers, the issue of transparency. They want to know what's happening at the board, right? So I think that it's important that you and Jose, both of you, since you work directly with the volunteers, need to be reporting consistently what is happening, where are the steps, where are we in the process. And I think that will also create more confidence in our volunteers, because the issue is, this has been, like taking it out, for example, that HRIS is, it was the overseeing Canseco and Hillside, right, in their creation, and that we are a local government corporation, and that we've been sharing, like the city of Laredo is not the governing board, but it's part of our board, and it's citizens like me that I have nothing to do with the city, and city representatives that actually work together to actually complete a project like this. I've had a meeting with the volunteers. I try to explain to the best of my capacity that, but I think that needs to be a message also that has to be communicated, that they can be part, like that they can join the board meetings, that we need to make this process more transparent to them. So, I mean, I think that we need to develop a strategy, and from there we can just continue the communication. Okay?
Okay,
I agree.
so this leads us to the next pending item that we have the website creation, non-action taken yet. So my plan is to start getting quotes probably in the next couple of weeks. And of course, I'll share those quotes with the board. Okay, we already talked about the lease agreement, the carriage house. We're going to talk a little bit about the garden maintenance. Parks and volunteers have been working hard. We ordered seats. I have the package with me, Derek. So I think we're good to go with the seats. And we still have to transplant like 30 more plants. We bought 50 plants, and last Saturday we transplanted 20, right? So we are working on that too. Okay, some insights. Okay, we need tools at Hillside. We need probably a new lock. I believe there was a problem last Sunday. The lock was open, and that's a conversation we need to have with probably Coach Gomez. We need basic gardening tools. We need a shed. And we need at least two hose wheelers. And we still need to get together and identify irrigation lines in order to determine if our schedule is working properly, because some of the volunteers are concerned that sometimes they are working out in the garden, and the irrigation systems turns on and they cannot work properly.
We've been trying to communicate with Coach Gomez. So I think, Jose, you need to work directly
Not
with.
directly, but I mean, I've been stopping by the Conseco house Tuesdays and Thursdays, which according to them they were going to attend. That's also another item conversation that we may need. We need a better communication system with them, because sometimes they say they'll go and they, for some reason, they have more work to do, but sometimes they don't go. So we need probably a text message or an email saying that they are working there, or that, I mean, that they were there. Just send us a picture or something. I need to talk to Mr. Navarro about that. And the idea of this is to eventually schedule some gardening workshops or professional growth opportunities for them, for our crew. And I also, in terms of the garden maintenance, I want to propose the purchase of a shredder and a tumbler to start making our own compost in the garden.
Right. So I think, Jose, you need like a budget for maintenance, right? So if you can set up a budget for maintenance so the board can approve that budget, that would be really good, with all, like, the Mercedes-Benz. Just include everything you want in that budget, and let's see what we can actually fund, right? And then and then I think that this piece of professional growth opportunities is very important, because that is the mission of LCIS, right? Provide
Yes.
education. And I think that we need to start training the parks people right now, that apparently they have some time off because the recreational centers are closed. So we can provide the information. So if we have any garden in any recreational center, they can actually, they are being trained about how to develop and establish, or how to support and upkeep a garden in their recreational centers. So I think this piece is super important. We need to work more with Coach Gomez, and I'm sad that he's not here today. So that would be one of our items for education.
Yeah, it's actually our first goal in the action plan.
Yeah, first goal in the action plan. Yes.
Okay, and I want to propose a couple of topics for upcoming workshops that we can start organizing with our volunteers: soil preparation, composting, seeding, and germination. That's something that I may have to talk to Derek, and we're gonna, I know we're gonna set up something good and interesting. We're gonna talk about volunteers. I have 19 signed applications right now. And Ruby, one of our volunteers, have developed an attendance spreadsheet. And I want to thank Derek and Ruby and Nelly and all the volunteers that have been working past weeks, past weekends on the gardens. I have a list of some grants on the scope. The first three grants are closed right now. They are from the USDA. There's one grant that we could potentially apply in the near time. It's a fruit tree planting foundation, but they also request some kind of letter or document that allows us to use the land, the Consejo house, and we're gonna work on that. And there's one other grant that we could potentially apply, and the application will come this winter. It's called the Specialty Crop Block Grant Program. It's through the Texas Department of Agriculture, and we can apply to that grant. So that's something that we have to keep in mind.
Is,
And the last part,
what is what kind of items they do in the specialty crop? What does that mean? What is a specialty crop?
we could potentially apply to get funding to have carrots or have a potato or a specialty crop, and we can ask funding for equipment and training. We have to develop a program. The last part of my report, I have some pictures that you may want to see. A picture says more than 1,000 words. The first picture, we see a crew from Parks and Aquatics working at the gardens. They have been very helpful too. We have some before and after pictures of the plots. So I want you to see the changes, and if you want to go and help us out, you're free to go also. We can be working hard, the volunteers and the crews from parks. And that's all I have right now. My report.
I think it's important to show us some pictures, Jose. Thank you for the pictures, because we can see the before and after. I mean, when Jose came into Canseco, it was like the volunteers have done above and beyond what they could, and the garden was in completely distress. I think that Jose and Coach Gomez have done a great job in trying to control the weeds, to clean up the garden. I think that's been super important work. So thank you so much, Jose. It's been really, really good. It's getting better. We're getting there. Yay. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, to have a functional facility, because it was not functional at all. I mean, look at that. So it's been good. Thank you. Is that Eric?
No, that's good. I think Derek doesn't want to come out in the pictures.
I was at the HEB across the street getting some coffee. I'll add too that it's an ongoing process. So it's been 2 or 3 times now that you've had to essentially pick up a truck in order to get the garden out from underneath. It's taken some pretty heroic measures to. That stuff grows fast. That Bermuda grass, so. We're in a much better position now this coming weekend. As we've been working on one garden primarily, because that's all the workload the staff or human power that we have right now. So we're going to have that garden hopefully fully planted by this weekend, so that we could have a decent fall harvest. So things. This is the people are starting to get excited right now. So all of us on board, if anybody you know, and if you could think of somebody that might want to join us, we could really use a lot of help in these next few weeks. And if we get more people, we can start to plant some of those other beds. But I know when you pass by, it doesn't always look great, but it requires so many people just to get an extra bed maintained and planted. So, we right now with all of the restrictions, we can come up with a very volunteer schedule, 7 days a week with different shifts. So, that doesn't really have to limit us anymore. So anybody that you can think of, please reach out.
John, do you know how we can, if anything, we can articulate efforts with Keep Laredo Beautiful? Hello? Oh, John is running. Can you text him, Guillermo? Thank you.
Say that again.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I'm just asking one of the issues that we have is that we don't have enough volunteers, or that we're thinking that the volunteers are carrying a very heavy load, and we would like to engage more people. My question for you is, how can, if anything, keep Laredo beautiful to help us with this mission?
So yeah, we get calls for people wanting to volunteer, either because they want to volunteer or because they have to volunteer for a citation. But I can have Blasita get in touch with you, or whoever, I guess with Jose, and you can coordinate that.
Yes, I think that would be important, because I know that Keep Laredo Beautiful, it's more visible right now than LCIS. So I think it would be important that, like, your support will be great, so we can start articulating these efforts. So I think that's important.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely do that, and yeah, we've got a decent number of people that we haven't been able to engage because of COVID, but this is just another opportunity we can work on.
Okay. This past year, we had 10 people Conseco right there. It was amazing. 10 people with different shifts. And we had 4 people on Sunday Hills. So, we certainly need more help. We need people. And I think if the public are large, starts seeing some of our efforts and some of our activities online on Instagram and Facebook, they will start to motivate, and they will like to engage with us.
Okay. Well, so I don't know if so Coach Gomez, we were proposing so that, how your recreational staff is helping us with the cleanup. What we were thinking, Coach Gomez, is that probably we can develop some kind of training through the garden. So they are trained, like, let's use this time that they have available to train them in garden, like garden maintenance, garden development, garden education. So if anyone has a garden in their recreational center, they can either develop the garden or upkeep the garden and actually have this as an educational activity. Because the goal for LCIS is to have an impact through the city, right? So I think that it's important that if we can develop this type of educational program, they will be able to reproduce what we have at Canseco, which is a small, into larger or other portions of the city. So I mean, we can, with Jose, we can talk about articulation of this project, Coach Gomez, and we'll be. I mean, it will be.
Sure. Right now, good morning, everyone. Sorry everybody joined late. Had 3 meetings at the same time. John and I had 3 meetings at the same time, and I feel like a DJ trying to turn all these screens on and up and all that. But yes, so we currently have people going. Right now, it's kind of slow with the rec centers, and as you know, with the pandemic and all that. So I have these extra hands that we can put them to use. I got them beautifying parks. They're painting all these all these areas that haven't gotten TLC because they're too busy. So I got extra hands that we can definitely train. We just got to, like with Mr. Moreno, somebody say, you know what, we're going to set up a seminar, and I'm going to send him, I would say maybe 3 or 4 from each rec center. I can probably even do that. And for 3 days, 1 week, so that we can plan it. And then, like you said, make it be an extension of what we want to have to do there. We got to do there at Canseco. Okay. As far as the personnel wise, like right now, they're there right now. Today's Thursday, so they're out there cleaning the little trail because with the rain and everything, the grass just we cleaned it out. The trail got cleaned out, so they know how to do the basic stuff. But to actually knowing, the right way and the formalities of how to do everything right now, they'll definitely can have a training and put them to work so that they can go help with their rec centers as well. That's a great idea. We just need to come up with a plan, Mr. Moreno, and let's see if we can coordinate and somebody that's going to train them the right way, right? Because I mean, they go clean out, it's like clean out the weeds, but there's certain procedures you want them to do. So we'll definitely, yes, ma'am, Dr. Lee, we can put it together and help everybody, help all of us, So let's, Mr. Moreno, you want to reach out to me and let's set up a plan and we'll timetable and how many often do we want to do it, and then, but more than anything, have a training for them. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And then Jose, I don't know if I'm thinking that by the end of October, November, maybe you might have some crops, and then we're gonna use the help of the farmers market, because I think also it would be great to distribute these. So they're like you're starting to grow right now. So probably by November you can have something at the farmers market, right?
Yeah, that's I hope. Yeah.
And that I've been talking with Melly, who's another volunteer, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know we can charge money for this, because that would be also a revenue source for us."
Yeah, that's one
Yes.
of the faculties of our. I mean, being a local government corporation, we can be for profit. Okay.
Right.
We've done that. I mean, we've done that in the past. Did you say for November?
I don't know. I'm thinking November, probably maybe December or February, January. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, it's possible because we have some transplants that have gone in that are quite mature, so it's possible.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, Jose, I just wanted to thank you. That was an excellent executive director report. If you would be so kind as to email that to me so that way I could include it in the minutes for this meeting.
Sure.
Also, the only thing I would recommend is on your executive director report, maybe include a section where you list the grants that you're applying for, considering to apply for, or perhaps see it out there in the future. That way, we as a board could help you out with those grants, and we all have little strengths, and none of us can do this job by ourselves, but we could all do this job together. So that way, we could assist you in making those grants, just as good as they possibly can be. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you just include that in your executive director report, we can definitely all contribute our little areas of expertise.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, Jose, are you okay with moving to the next item? Are
Yes,
you
of course.
done with your report? Okay. Okay, we're going to move to the assignment of directors 6 to 11. So first we have a sustainable restaurateur that is Roberto Gonzalez. He is not here, but he sent us an email. Guillermo, can you please?
Yeah. Yes, he wants to continue, so he's in. And it can be as simple as that. You know, we can go down the line and you can say, yes, I'd like to continue for another 3 years, or, ya no aguanto.
Yeah, exactly. We can, yeah, exactly. That was I was thinking. We can go down the line and see if we say yes, I want to continue, or no, I don't want to. Okay, so Maita, your next one. Would you like to continue
Yeah, continue with what?
being a board member for the next 3
Oh,
years?
yes, I would.
Awesome. Also, we have Derek, that you are also in the local urban livestock advocate, but actually we make the change. So as a volunteer representative, would you like to continue for the next 3 years?
Yes.
And then we have Ceci Cisneros, who is our representative for apiculturists and urban agriculture advocate. So Ceci, would you like to continue for the next 3 years? Okay.
She went ahead and responded yes on the chat.
And it's my turn. I would have to say that I'm going to step down. I'm sorry.
The academic sector?
Yes, I can continue with my job at the board, but I'll be here if you need me.
Okay.
We need a new president, a new chair for this board.
And I'm sorry, but we skipped Priscilla Iglesias.
I'm sorry, Priscilla. Oh, she's out. She's not here anymore.
Well, that probably means that she'll continue.
Yeah. Yes, and actually, I talked with her before, and she said that if she is not the appointed person, she can actually send a representative from her organization. So, yeah.
And that works well.
I'm going to find my replacement. I'm trying to find another faculty member that will take over, but I can continue. There are like changes at the university, and I will not be able to continue with this work. We need to vote for the new positions. So I don't know if we can designate a new chair, a new secretary, a new treasurer. Those are the two positions, right?
Actually, for this meeting, ma'am, it's only the board chair.
Oh, then I think the board chair, we need to have any nominations.
I'm going to nominate Derek Lacey for chair.
I will second that.
I second that.
That's
Can I unnominate myself?
You can nominate yourself for sure.
I'm honored for that, but I just don't know if the similar demands of my work would allow that.
I would nominate Guillermo. be chair of the board. Guillermo, would you like to be chair of the board?
No. I'm
May I
taking the main
propose-
direction. And
I propose that we sorry to interrupt you, Gizmo. I propose that we think of somebody who isn't on the board now that would be interested in this. I'm sure a lot of people in the city that would be interested in doing something like this. We could probably find somebody who's really motivated to do it. I certainly have a lot of passion for this project. But I think there's probably got to be somebody who's better suited, would like to step in.
the only problem with that, Derek, is they have to be a current board member
Oh, okay.
in order to become to become the chairman. And so it's got to be one of us, one of the 11 on here right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What does the board think? I mean, we probably need more members present to make this decision.
You know, I had originally thought of Bobby, but he does not want to become president because of the, I guess, the demands of his work. Going down the list, there's Coach Gomez, John Porter, Kirby, Roger Garcia, Maite, Priscilla, who would be excellent as well, Ceci, and now we have to find a new academic sector representative.
I don't have to step down. I mean, this is for consideration of the board. I don't have to step down right now, but by the end of the year, I will have to. So, I mean, if the board agrees, I can continue to support. Like, I'm going to try to find my replacement. And at the same time, it will give some time to the board to actually find a new chair. Is that okay with you? But I needed to let you know that I need to step down from this.
I think that if the board agrees, I agree. I like that we could continue with the current positions until January, and we can call for an election in December.
Second that.
All in favor?
I agree. Yeah.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
Any opposed?
Any other bombshells? Anybody?
Okay. Well, so we have an agreement. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 11:04. We can get to 11:30, so that's great. And we're going to adjourn at 11:04. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Guillermo second. All in favor?
In favor? Aye.
Aye.
I.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything.